was unanswered. We recovered from that. It was a great recovery from that. I mean, in hindsight, that event shouldn't have even happened. So this is where a lot of service providers, and we as a service provider also gained expertise in rail operations. Since then, as well as just transportation itself, since then now, Greyhound is a client of ours in the US. If you call Greyhound, we are the ones who are buying tickets, we are the ones who are creating these route plans. So we gained an expertise which could be leveraged by other branches of the same company around the world. I'll quickly go through this. I mentioned the 3 credit bureaus our clients, and while they're extremely mature, they're progressing, they're at best-in-class cost levels in their operation. But a fundamental question in front of them was, we've penetrated 94% of the American population. And we have a fiduciary part of our duty where we deliver credit reports, but there is a profitable business as well where we deliver credit report monitoring or other services around the credit report. And I pretty much tapped the market. Anyone who had to buy that has bought it. And at this point, I have a trickle growth. So what's next? Are we done? I mean, is that it? And that's where the thinking was, where are people who can buy these services? And India has 1.3 billion people, China has more. And however, their management team decided or came to a conclusion that they were not ready to go set up business in India because they did not understand the political climate, the regulatory climate. There are rules where you can't leave India if you set up a business for 7 years. So there was this scatter, but there was a big stick as well. So what they did was, we already had a 6-year relationship with them, and we were one of the largest service providers in India. So not only did we have large operations, but we actually served clients in India. So we had consumer reports in India because we served that population. Large telecom companies, large banks, Western, a lot of them in India. So we understood that market really well, and because we ran such a large operation, we understood the political, economic, and regulatory environment as well. So what they did, and this is where it gets better, all 3 credit agencies who compete with each other so fiercely all came together and they said, let's have our common service provider set up the credit bureau in India. There's no concept of social security number in India. So that kind of makes it a little difficult to identify a person and say your credit is so-and-so, or you have good credit or bad credit. So there was some infrastructure work that had to get done. And if any of the credit agencies did that, if any of the credit bureaus did that, it would not have the credibility as what would happen if a third party did it. So there was a governance organization created called CIBIL in India. That's kind of like the credit agency, reporting agency, and then all 3 invested and we acted as on their behalf. We developed the software, we developed the infrastructure, and this is allowing them to get into a market which has that $3.6 billion potential. So an example of I think I talked about the DMP example. Now some quick examples here, and these are live. These are large American companies that we're working with now. Very very reputed. Everyone would have heard their name. One of the top 75 brands in the world in healthcare. And they're very good at clinical services, but then again the same issue, there's so much uncompensated care. People show up at their emergency rooms not able to pay, so that's driving their profitability down. So what they wanted to do is diversify in contiguous areas. So what they wanted to do is leverage their brand without an upfront investment into a new business, but wanted to get into a new business, which is around healthcare accounts collections, healthcare, revenue cycle, which there are a lot of companies that do that. So what they wanted to do is test the market and do it with a company that's already in that space and wouldn't require an upfront investment. So we're working with them where they are acting more as the client relationship. So they are going into physician groups, they are going into people that recognize their brand, and they're selling that service, which is completely delivered by us, white label. So it is their service. We are simply delivering it for them, and it's a win-win for both of us because we're pretty good at delivering that. We don't have a lot of sales and marketing dollars or the brand that that company has in that vertical. You know, the other one is utility. I mean, any of you in the Eastern Seaboard, one of the services that we provide to all the utilities in the Eastern Seaboard are emergency repair services. So when one of the hurricanes or a snowstorm hits and lines go down, we are the ones in the bucket trucks going out and repairing those. So when we started talking about with these utilities, and they're getting hammered by the utility commissions because they're not able to provide services, and this is customer service. And they today outsource that to best-in-class customer service companies who are great at running call centers, don't necessarily understand their business very well. So this is where what we're doing is we're providing an end-to-end service where not only do we actually repair the line, we also pick up the phone and tell the consumer when that truck will be there. And that's what customers look for. So credit bureau, I talked about that. So I just wanted to give you some examples. So this is not, you know, out of the world concept. This is happening today. And what has happened with each one of these cases is our companies have improved their revenues. Yeah, they have effectively managed costs, but they have actually effectively improved revenues, hired people here. And I wouldn't spend a lot of time here, but you've got to be very careful in terms of you know, who has the capability, because you know it's a broad and deep capability. You know, we've always either gone for someone who's broad horizontally, or we have gone for someone who's deep vertically. But this requires both. You know, so that's where there's a swath of providers in the market, you know, that bring bits and pieces of this. But I think this is where, you know, there is some need for education, for understanding what's required to do something like this. A recap of, you know, some of the things. I think mission critical is something that I would stress on. You know, so someone that manages a hospital is probably a very good partner to actually do the billing and collections rather than someone, you know, way over. I was calling a company, you know, that recommends restaurants, and I asked them. I said, so is this in Nob Hill area? And the person on the other side said, no, it's not hilly. It's San Francisco. It's in the city. Okay. So this person has never been in San Francisco, and he's giving me direction to get to a restaurant. So from a creativity perspective, perfect, right? That company has reduced their cost structure by half. I'd never visit that restaurant because I mean, they don't know me as a consumer. So I think that's where, you know, just to recap, you know, new market, growth market entry. I think that's key. I mean, we can't live in a world of protectionism because, you know, the boundaries of this country will not be able to sustain the standards of living that we have, and this is how it's always been. So can we leverage the outsourcing partners, geographic reach, not just to find the lowest cost location, but to enter a market? The new offering development, the other piece is the leverage. So I know sourcing advisors love to bring leverage to negotiate contracts. But I think we're leaving money on the table by just negotiating middle and back office. Why not front line as well? Because that's where you could get a much better pricing on the back office. And the outcome based, you know, so ask your providers how much revenue can they contribute, how much investment they are willing to do. to get over that resistance, that momentum, and that it seems we're losing. And I've seen we're generating jobs which are very difficult to offshore or outsource, because we are generating a new breed of skilled employees who know how to manage a vendor, who know how to launch a new business, who know how to strike a partnership, a win-win partnership with someone, rather than just a subservient vendor-client relationship, and make sure that the service provider truly becomes a partner. It's a bit of a trap when a service provider just says, "I'll do whatever you tell me." I don't like those service providers that say that, because then I'm limited by my limitations.